Some people spend months planning the perfect trip. I didn't. I just took off. No reservations, no route, just my bike, a tent, and a vague idea to head north for a few days. It was cold, it was miserable, and I loved every second of it. Sometimes the hardest part is just taking off. My ride started in Lindsay, late in the afternoon. The V-Strom was packed and ready for adventure. Even though it was well into October, I lucked out with some warm weather. I wasn't the only one making the most of it either. There were plenty of other bikes out on the road. As I rode north, the farmland quickly gave way to the rugged Canadian shield. That's when the riding started to get interesting, carving around rock cuts and gliding along lakes as I made my way through the Kawarthas. The golden hour light set the fall colors on fire, making everything around me glow. Before long, I was passing through Muskoka, and the riding did not disappoint. Long, flowing curves and endless scenery. I was having a blast. By the time I left the area, the sun had set. After a short hop on the highway, I rolled into Parry Sound. Dinner was apple slices and peanut butter. I then checked the weather. Rain was on the way. I decided to stay the night in town. Naturally, I set up a tarp in the Walmart parking lot. I spent the night on my accordion mat, still in my motorcycle gear. The rain came and went, and by morning, my mat was basically floating in a puddle. Kinda miserable, but I stayed dry, and that's all that really matters. Once I got up and packed away the tarp, I had breakfast under the cart corral. I then waited out the last of the rain while sipping a coffee. By the time daylight broke, I was riding north along the Georgian Bay. I love this stretch of highway. The landscape is so unique, full of granite outcrops and windswept pines. On the way up, I stopped at Grundy Lake Provincial Park to grab a quick shower. The facilities here are great, and having a parks pass definitely comes in handy on trips like this. I even got to rinse the Walmart parking lot juices off my mat. Before I knew it, I was passing through Sudbury and riding along the north channel of Lake Huron. The temperature was starting to drop by this point, and I could feel that northern chill setting in. After lunch, I pushed on until I reached Bruce Mines. While I was filling up, a local told me I should head north and take Highway 638, and I'm glad I listened. It's an incredible stretch of pavement, and after so many straight highway miles, it felt great to finally lean the bike over again. That ended up spitting me out close to Echo Bay. I then rode through Sault Ste. Marie and continued along to Highway 17. I was now riding along Lake Superior, one of my favorite places to be. The wind was blowing hard off the lake, and the air was cool. My heated grips were on full blast trying to keep me warm. I was feeling exhausted by this point, but I knew there was a great camp waiting for me further up the shoreline. After sneaking off the side of the road, I set up my tent at an awesome crown land spot right on the lake. I shared the area with a few camper vans, had some dinner, and settled in for an early night. I fell asleep to the sound of the waves crashing on the shore and the wind shaking the tent. Overall, I slept comfortably and stayed warm. When I crawled out of my sleeping bag that morning, it was freezing. I packed up fast and hit the road just to warm up a bit. The rest of the morning I spent riding through Lake Superior Provincial Park. The views here were dramatic. Big bays, long beaches, and that classic Superior coastline. There are plenty of great places to stop along the way, and if you've never been, it's definitely worth checking out. Once I got to Wawa and filled up the bike, it was time for some arts and crafts. With a bit of duct tape, a couple of Tim Hortons paper bags, and a few branches, I managed to make myself some new bar muffs. Then I jumped back on Highway 17 and kept riding along the north shore of Superior. The ride from Wawa to Marathon is a pretty barren stretch. The road pulls away from the shoreline and gives you a taste of Northern Ontario's interior. Rough, quiet, and very empty. After a quick snack at a scenic overlook just past Marathon, I was back on the bike. The rest of the afternoon was spent riding towards Nipigon, with the lake popping in and out of view. Just before arriving in Nipigon, I turned onto Highway 11, filled up, and continued north. I'd never ridden this stretch before, so I was genuinely excited to see what it had to offer. Almost immediately, I was blown away. Helen Lake was unreal, and the timing couldn't have been any better. Sweeping curves, shoreline views, huge cliffs. This section instantly became one of those rides I'll remember forever. Just before sunset, I pitched my tent off the side of the highway by a small creek. I fell asleep to the sound of running water, occasionally interrupted by passing semis. The next morning, I woke up with cold feet and a layer of frost on the tent. It was just below freezing. I packed up in the dark and waited for the sun to catch up. It was a very cold morning on the bike. The stretch from Long Lac to Hearst was remote, long, and flat, a perfect place to follow the speed limit. Once I got to Hearst, I filled up and checked the weather. Not only was it going to get colder over the next few days, but rain was on the way. So I decided I was going to put down some serious mileage and hopefully make it home. The V-Strom was riding like it was on rails, and I was squeezing every last bit of the final hours of the trip. I blasted through Temagami, North Bay, and eventually Huntsville. I was absolutely freezing by then, so I stopped at a Tim's and used one of my go-to survival tricks. A boiling water bottle stuffed down the jacket. Works every time. I rolled into Halliburton wishing this would be the end, but nope, still a couple hours to go. Thanks for tagging along on this adventure, and thanks for helping the channel hit 1,000 subscribers. If you're into ADV rides and moto camping, be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. Catch you in the next one.